Tea time. We are live here. Thanks for joining us. We are live on Smoking Barrels YouTube channel, Facebook, and now T's Instagram, T Crocker. We have with us today a special guest, the technology goddess, Mary Bloomquist. She's going to share some great information with us today, and we're going to geek out with her a little bit. We have Buster, better known as the Riddler, Luther Ross, the cigar extraordinaire, T. Crocker, myself, Brian Huff, here at Smoking Barrel, where the House of Beef is going up.
The House of Beef.
The House of Beef. We will fill you in on that backstory right there when we get to it. But we got a great pairing for you guys today. We got some great information. You're going to love it. We'll call this our, is it Idalia? The hurricane?
Idalia.
Idalia.
Yes.
We're going to call it the Idalia Hurricane Party
Okay.
today.
Oh, this is fun. Okay.
Thinking about our friends down in Florida right now, Georgia, and going up through South Carolina and eventually the coast of North Carolina. Thinking about you guys, praying for you. I hope everything works out. Especially our girlfriend down in Sanford. I don't know how that's affecting her, but Erica. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, today we have a chicken cock bourbon. So go ahead and start posting all your comments about that. And we're going to see how chicken cock tastes.
I've never had it before.
Well, everybody has a first. So then we're having the Southern Draw Firethorn. Southern Draw Kudzu was my favorite. We're going to see how the Firethorn measures up today.
Nice.
Luther's going to be talking about the chicken cock bourbon. Luther, kick us off.
Well, I thought I was talking about the Southern Draw.
Oh, okay. I'll talk about the bourbon. You're right. KHLC, we got it together.
We got it together.
So the chicken cock came to us through Mike Young's, Johnson Brothers distributors. He introduced it to us. Obviously, the first thing I said is, what? It's called what? So then we got past that. And it's a 90 proof. Mash bill is 70% corn, 21% rye. So what does that tell us right there? It's going to be a little sweeter. It's going to have a little bit. It's not a high rye, so it's going to have a little spice on the end, maybe on the finish. But we'll find out. Duke Ellington writes about chicken cock in his memoirs, referring to the brand that was served in a tin can.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
chicken cock actually
Look this up.
began in 1856. Now think about that.
That's crazy.
That's a long time ago to be around. That's one of the newer. So what? It was under a different name originally, and then was re-released. Okay, with the same mash bill, the same recipe. So it came back onto it. Vanilla, caramel, same old. Light oak, graham cracker. That's a little different on the nose. The palate, caramel apple against prominent baking spices form an immediate base of flavor. So we talk about corn and rye and that mix. That's where you're going to get that sweet over a little bit of spice, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we expect. And then the finish is a healthy dose of spice. The finish weaves back through the traditional caramel and vanilla flavors. A hint of leather mingles in, and then tapers off.
Tapers off.
So the initial shock your palate, it does, I think. Even with a 90%er, it does have that spicy finish. That it's a 4-year-old. So remember, it's a light oak 4-year-old.
I definitely got the caramel.
I get the caramel.
Caramel's on the
Yeah.
front,
Uh-huh.
spices in the back.
Spice in the back.
Business in the front, party in
It's
the
like a
back.
mullet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. It's really good. I didn't expect it to be that good, but it's good.
What's interesting is, we talk about our bourbons each week. And really, we try to pick a different bourbon we have in the bar. So, when people come in, we have it. We give a discount on the bourbons and cigars that we feature every Wednesday when people come in. But the thing that I'm pointing out is, have we really had a bad one?
I don't think so.
I think it's just different tastes and different
Uh-huh.
palates can be covered here. You know what I mean? You
Right.
get that variety because everybody's not going to have the same palate. Everybody's not going to like the same things. But if we're able to offer a variety and we cover that variety, we can kind of give our opinion. Like, I wouldn't use chicken cock in an old fashioned. That to me doesn't match an old fashioned
Okay.
drink.
Okay.
Okay, I would, however, be fine with that if you wanted to mix it with something like Coke or ginger ale or something of that nature.
Oh,
I think
could
would be
totally do
good.
that with Coke. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I could totally do that with a Coke Zero. Coke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would mix well. We're Dr. Pepper folks over on this side, so we like the Dr. Pepper Zero. I think it would mix well with that. I mean, it's a good. Not that you have to mix it, but I'm
Right.
just thinking like, not everybody likes to drink neat or on the rocks. If you do, it's gonna be
I bet
fine.
the caramel and the spicy with the Dr Pepper would be
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's what I'm thinking with that cherry sweet flavor. Yeah, it'll be good.
Did you say graham cracker?
Yeah, it says graham
Yeah.
cracker. I'm still waiting for that. I'm gonna little retro taste the next one.
Okay. So let's talk about this Southern Draw Firethorn that we are experiencing today. If you ever wondered if power and grace can coexist, yes, they can. Let me answer that for you. With complexity and robustness, medium to full body, earthy, charred taste. It has a woody character, wonderful flavor, heavy and pleasant aroma. Great balance of taste along with aroma. Very good. This is a San Andreas in Mexico, so factory and blender is San Andreas. The blender is Mexico. Rating hasn't been rated yet, but if you come by Smoke and Barrel, you can be the rater.
Oh, great idea.
We've got them in the humidor, along with chicken cock on the bar. You can experience it all. The wrapper is a Habano Rosado from Ecuador. The filler, Nicaragua. I can never say that.
You got
You
it.
did great.
Really?
You sound like you're from there.
That sounded very.
Okay.
See?
So, and this, listen to these accolades: sweet toffee, baking spices, carrot cake, and aromatic cedar.
Who came up with aromatic cedar?
Who came up with carrot cake?
That's what I'm saying. And together,
Carrot cake and what was the other for the chicken cock? The graham cracker.
the
is that-
graham cracker. It's we okay.
We're gonna be fat kids over here.
Yes.
Now you're gonna have to retrohale the cigar to get any kind of sweet carrot cake out of
And
it.
for those who don't know what that means,
No.
what does that mean?
Well,
Probably
you're
not.
basically pulling it in, holding it, and taking it through your nose.
And singeing your nose hairs.
It does singe a bit, but
So it does trim them.
it is a
And
tool.
maybe if you
trim.
need a trimmer.
I trust that you.
So I was hesitant to do it because the last time I
don't
got
do
a
that.
little on the edge there, I had a problem
Oh, okay.
during the podcast. It didn't go well.
Okay.
All right. So I just did it. I didn't announce it just in case something happened. And truly, you do get some of those sweeter notes if you
Okay.
use that
Okay.
sense of smell
Uh-huh.
instead of just taste. And I think you're going to get more if you're able to do that. Now, it's not the easiest.
And it's
it
called.
will retro
Hell.
hell.
Got it.
Yes. I do it a lot with pipe, but not so much with cigars.
Well, its pipe is very sweet, right?
Yeah. But this is a great option today. This is a great choice. Southern
If you
Draw.
don't take advantage of this, you're crazy.
Yeah, this is really good.
Southern Draw is great. The San Andreas is a sweet leaf, so that's really going to add that sweetness to it.
Right.
Southern Draw is right up there with, and I mean, my father and Southern Draw and the Judge and the Kudzu have a similar wrapper, right, and a similar taste. I like both of them. So when I tried the Firethorn, I think this is
Okay.
great to see a little more diversity in their line.
Right. Now I don't think I've experienced Habano Rosado before.
You have.
Okay,
What
so
was it, T?
what
We
is
had
that?
it.
You have. I can't think of the cigar, but you have.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bono Rosado, we did 6 or 8 weeks ago. We did one with that, and I can't think of the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah, this is a great cigar.
So, Southern Draw is owned by Richard Holt. Richard Holt is a veteran. I actually got to sit and hold a lengthy conversation with him. So Southern Draw also have in their cigar line, along with the Firethorn, they have Jacob's Ladder, which we get it in a Lancero and sell out every single time. So I got to order 3 more boxes. So we have the Jacob's Ladder. We have Cedrus. He also made one, a cigar for his wife. It's called Rose of Sharon.
Aw,
Rose of Sharon?
Rose of Sharon.
That's beautiful.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
He also has part of his cigar line. He has some cigars called 300 Hands, and he named it that because from seed to humidor,
Wow.
a cigar actually goes through 300 hands. Even though the part of his line, the 300 hands, may not be as expensive or cost as much as the Cedrus, the Firethorn, and the Rose of Sharon, and the Kudzu, which is my favorite. They are really nice cigars.
Excellent. Yeah.
Is that 300 hands for that particular cigar line, or is that in general?
That's in general.
Wow.
In general, yeah.
In general. So from seed, from planting the seed,
Absolutely.
all the way up until that cigar is boxed and shipped. It's 300 hands.
That's a lot of people's livelihoods that are all involved. in
Absolutely.
that. That's incredible.
Okay, so, and let me ask the stupid question in the group. Is that 300 people or 150
Yeah,
people?
good call. Is it 150 people or 300
It's
hands?
300 hands.
Okay, so 150 people.
150 people.
300.
300 people.
300 people.
Oh,
So
oh,
600
300.
hands.
Yes, 600 hands. Right.
300 people.
wow.
And that's on average. But think about how many people touch a cigar and the price point. That's what I can't get over.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
10, 12 bucks.
Right.
Still, but all of these handmade, handcrafted. When
Right.
it's handmade, handcrafted, there's quality. That's the first thing you think about is quality. And then, you know,
Right.
expensive.
Right.
You know,
And what
what a
kills
tremendous
me,
value.
What kills me is when you get people into a lounge that new smokers. The first thing they say when they come through is, "I want a hand roll." Which one you want? All of them are hand rolled.
Right.
We have over 200 boxes of hand-rolled cigars. Which one?
All of them are hand rolled.
Right.
I gotta ask that question at least 10 times yesterday.
Yeah. All of them are hand rolled. Which one you want?
But what a great opportunity for education for
Right.
new smokers.
And then-
to
That's
share
true.
with them and
Yeah.
say they all are, and now the 300 hands. I mean, that's really important to share.
Oh, and the other question, or the other request you get is, let me have one of them Cubans,
Okay, well that one is
There's always
sir.
something they don't smoke.
It's the new smokers. It's the new smokers. They kill me. Can I get one of them Cubans back there? I'm quite sure that they were all touched by one, but which one would you like?
But is it fair to say even the most experienced cigar smokers all were new smokers at one time?
Oh,
So it's
absolutely.
kind
Yes,
of, right?
absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I know I'm not a cigar smoker, and I wouldn't ask about the Cubans, but I may ask, you know, another question that to some people may seem silly, but to others, that's why I love coming here, because you all help educate people and share, and don't make people feel silly for asking those questions.
No.
That's
And
what I
you
love
know,
about it.
it's interesting you bring that up because I was told by a customer, do you know why I like coming here? Because when I first started smoking, you didn't look down on me.
Right.
You know, you answered my questions. I don't care what it was. And now I realize some of the questions I asked probably were not,
Right.
were dumb questions. But at the end of the day, I never felt that way. You know, and that's important to us as a staff to know that people feel that way because we strive to do that. You know, each one of us sitting here, all of our staff, our number one goal is to make you feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
I mean, whatever it is, whether it's seating, whether it's music, whether it's your experience or your drink, your whatever it is. We want you to be comfortable. This is your home. When you step in here, you're in our house, but it's also your house, right?
Well,
So,
and that's the tagline is "Come for a cigar, stay for the company." So
do what now?
the tagline on our Instagram bio is "Come for a cigar, stay for the company."
There you go.
That's what it is.
We are family. All right,
I have a really good segue into our topic today.
you go, Mary. Technology goddess.
So today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, AI.
Okay.
And there's a lot of talk, a lot of chat going on right now with a lot of different people, a lot of different industries about artificial intelligence, how it's being used. It's been around for a long time. People, you know, if you've ever interacted with a chat bot, you know, any type of like customer service type situation on social media or online, things like that, a lot of times that's artificial intelligence. Basically, the goal is to have humans and machines working well together. And a lot of people get a little freaked out by this conversation. I can tell T's already getting a little worried. I'm not talking about machines taking over the world or anything like that. But artificial intelligence can also be great for different types of businesses and different types of applications. So just a few minutes ago, I learned a brand new term called retrohale, and I asked AI to describe it.
The robot can't blow smoke.
Well, let's just see, okay? This is just what it said about retrohaling a cigar. It came up with 5 easy steps, and then I also I had AI print pairing suggestions of cigars with bourbons, and we're just going to go over a couple of them and see if it got it right or wrong.
Okay.
Because I think, to T's point, it's never going to be able to replace a human, right?
Right.
But how close can it get? Because the difference between artificial intelligence and something like a search engine is artificial intelligence isn't just regurgitating information. That's the big difference. So in terms of the retrohaling, it said, it involves exhaling smoke through your nose to fully experience its flavors and aromas. Here's how you can do it. Take a slow, gentle puff from your cigar, ensuring the smoke is in your mouth. Is that accurate? Close your mouth and let the smoke settle in the back of your throat. Slowly and steadily exhale through your nose while keeping your mouth closed. Don't force it. The goal is a controlled exhale. Is this accurate?
Absolutely spot on.
You might feel a tingling sensation or notice more intricate flavors as the smoke passes through your nasal passages.
Uh-huh.
Practice makes perfect. It might take a few tries to get the technique down, so be patient. And the last thing it says
Killing
is,
me, man.
remember, retrohaling can be a bit intense at first,
Yes.
so start with
Till you
small
burn
puffs.
all of the the hairs out of your nose. Yeah.
So start with small puffs and gradually work your way up.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
AI gonna get somebody choked.
all right, well, let's just look at a couple of these, just real quick.
What you got? Let me see
Just
what
look,
you got.
just look at a couple.
Let me see
We're not
what you
going to read all of them. We don't have time for that. You guys have other things you want to talk about, but you know, AI is also used in things like weather model predictions. When we were talking about the hurricane.
So they're gonna be like a weatherman in lot, pretty much.
Don't lie.
Huh?
You just don't have to be
They,
right.
they
Please
just
don't be talking about my Brad Panovich in case he's watching. He does not lie. That
Hey,
man does not
who?
lie.
he's the guy on WCNC's real quick.
No, they said it was not gonna rain on Saturday. We have movie night at the Hideout. We blow up the big screen. We
Hey.
sitting there and it's lightning.
What'd I tell you?
That's that.
What'd I
bullshit.
tell you?
They said in Charlotte.
No. What did I tell you, T? What did I tell you? You said we're having movie night, and I said, what did I say? 2
gonna
days
rain.
before,
It's gonna rain.
it's gonna rain. And so I see posted on Instagram, everybody's huddled underneath the garage because it's thundering and lightning. Just say it.
I'm going to pick randomly 3 from the list.
Okay.
And then, because, you know, I know nothing about cigars. I know very little, except for what I've learned helping with the marketing here. And you guys tell me if they have the right idea. So I said, share with me some pairing of cigars with bourbon. It responded, certainly. And it says it involves finding complementary flavors, aromas, and intensities. So, what about Let's go with a spicy and sweet cigar with a spiced bourbon. It's at the bottom of the first page.
Okay.
It says match a cigar with both spicy and sweet elements with a spiced bourbon like Jefferson Chef's collaboration for complex interplay of flavors.
Well, you're doing opposites attract, right?
Okay.
So you're trying to, because up above it says, a spice bourbon versus a high rye bourbon. Like, okay, so
What
when
would
you're
that
talking
be?
about a spiced bourbon, how is it spiced? Is it rye? I'm not familiar with Jefferson's chef's collaboration, so I'm not familiar with that.
Jefferson's
bourbon.
Ocean, ain't it?
No, that's a different Jefferson. So you got Jefferson Ocean, you got Jefferson Reserve, okay, which is going to be a smoother. It's not spiced, right? So whatever that is, it'd be interesting to see if it's a high rye,
Okay.
because up above it says spicy cigars with high rye bourbon.
Okay.
So it goes, match a spicy Nicaraguan cigar with a high rye bourbon, such as Bullet bourbon, to amplify the spice notes in both the cigar and whiskey. Down below it says, you know what? You can do the opposite. You can do a spicy bourbon with a, spicy, sweet elements of a spice bourbon,
So let's say you're on your computer and you're researching this, and that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can then say, expand upon number 7 and give me more examples and more description.
Cool.
You can start going down the rabbit hole with that. So, okay, we'll take one more that I'm going to suggest. Second page, dark wrap cigars with port barrel finished bourbon. I'm trying to find the most obscure thing. Enjoy a cigar with a dark wrapper alongside a bourbon that has been finished in port wine barrels, such as Angel's Envy Port Finish, for a luxurious blend of flavors.
Well, it's naturally going to be Angel's Envy. I mean,
Why?
that's the most prevalent port finished bourbon on the market. So that is definitely going to be.
So how to
Good
explain,
choice.
for someone who doesn't understand that, what is a port finished bourbon?
It's in a port cask. So you have port aged in a barrel.
And if I
And-
didn't know what port was, you would explain that to me?
It's a
Is it like port wine? Is that a...
yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So port is
Oh.
usually an after dinner liqueur or drink
Okay.
that you have that's sweeter. It's
Kinda
kind of
sweet.
dessert.
Okay.
Like with your dessert, like you would have port maybe with chocolate cheesecake.
Okay. All right.
Or,
Okay.
or bourbon pecan pie. Those would go really well together.
So you're
Um,
finishing the bourbon process in the barrel that has already been soaked and is taking on the flavors of the port wine.
So it's finished in that.
It's
so,
finished.
So it's going to be aged, and let's say it's a 5-year-old bourbon. It's going to be aged for 5 years, and then taken out of that barrel and put into the other one to finish it.
Okay, so it's
So
not
it doesn't
the 5
say
years.
that.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It says finish it in.
See, I didn't.
So you get those
I know.
lighter notes that are added through the finishing process. And that can take up to a year, 2 years. It just depends on how long you want to finish it, right?
Right.
And then
I
being
like
there,
it.
so you're taking a thief out of the barrel to say, yeah, we're there, right? We got the taste we're looking for.
So if you have a 5-year-old
Don't believe me.
and you age it, put it in a port for 2 more years, can you legitimately call it a 7-year?
Oh, good question.
That is a Charlie question,
Okay.
but I'm going to tell you from a purist standpoint, you took it out of the barrel at 5 years. That's a 5-year bourbon.
Okay.
That's based
Okay.
on what I have heard Charlie say
All
about, hey, if you say it's a blend or it's a 10-year, it has the minimum barrel age has to be 10 year. It can be 10, 11, 12, but it can't be below 10 because if it's a 9-year, then it has to be a 9-year, no matter what else is in there with it.
Understood.
So I'm just kind of reasoning from there.
Sure.
So the point about AI is, in this scenario, is pretty interesting because it takes a few pieces of information. Here's a few thoughts, and then it expands on it,
Right.
and then you can drill down to say,
Right.
well, that's not specific enough. I need to highlight this, put it back in, and see what comes out. Maybe add a few more details. Because, right, the more details you offer, it's going to be the more of what you're trying to communicate or
like,
accomplish.
It's like a relationship. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So the more specificity you put in, the more you're going to get out. You also, disclaimer about using artificial intelligence, there are quite a few different apps and programs that you can use. If it doesn't know, it will tell you the wrong thing with a lot of confidence. So
Okay.
I was looking for, one of my clients is a local municipality, and is Gaston Alive, and so they do local e-newsletter throughout all of Gaston County and the Charlotte Metro region. And I was looking up all of the parades, the 4th of July fireworks celebrations in all of Gaston County in June and July of this year. So I asked it, because instead of me Googling and going to each of the different towns and cities and doing all that, I said, let me see how this works. It told me 3 of them were very wrong, but it told me with assurance. So just like with anything that we find online, it's important to fact check, and it's important to go back and check your references and check your sources.
So as George Costanza says on Seinfeld, if you believe it, it's not a lie.
Huh.
Or it's not a lie if you believe it.
And perception is reality. We can add that one too, because if people then read it and they don't check their sources, don't check their facts. So before I was able to post that for my client, I actually went, that doesn't sound right.
But you know, people who are not, and I'm not going to say they're lazy. What I would say is they're not as thorough as they should be. They will take whatever is spit out as gospel, right?
Yep.
This is 100% right because this put it out. Just like you could pull a story off the internet. You don't know the source. Anybody can write anything at any time.
Right.
Right? And so you take that as fact and then start sharing it as it's fact. And that's why we have, what is it, Snoops or,
Snopes.
yeah.
The Snopes, the fact checkers.
Yeah.
So something that, this that I use, this type of program is just for facts and information. They have image AI generators. So think about this complication. You're a professional photographer. You're a professional artist. You spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money invested in your craft. Now there's an image generator that says, paint me a portrait of Smoke and Barrel Cigar Lounge in the style of Van Gogh, using only the colors pink and orange. Boom. You can say, show me an image of Beyonce and George Washington crossing the Delaware in a purple kayak. Boom.
Is that how people do that stuff on Instagram?
And so that's the problem, is that this isn't just Photoshop anymore. This is a level higher.
Right. Yeah.
Another level is people are able to create images that aren't for good use. And so there's a lot of legal implications of this. And imagine if you're an artist, you're a photographer, you're a writer. Kids now, and adult learners too, can easily go in and say, write me a 3-page paper on, the invention of the combustion engine and in APA style, and include these. The more you put in, the more you get out. And so what they're doing in the world of academia is they have programs that you copy and paste that information, and it tells you how much of it is AI generated. So it's all about, the way that I explain it for myself, for my teenage daughter, and also for my clients, is it's a great tool in your toolbox. It's a great starting point.
Right.
If I was going to write a blog article for Smoke and Barrel for the website, which if you haven't seen the website, you need to check it out. It has lots of great information. I could have used that as a beginning. I could have asked you guys for information. You would have pointed me in the right direction. I could have done more research. It was a great starting point instead of looking at that blank screen.
Right.
But it doesn't replace it. So I thought that was kind of something interesting that a lot of different people are using. There's not a single industry of work where people aren't able to utilize it in one way.
So,
And how many people, go ahead, T.
So to piggyback off of what Mary's saying, a lot of airports have Clear.
Have what?
Clear.
Okay. What is clear?
Clear is a program that they use to identify people that fly a lot. So they walk up to the screen, look at the screen, and then their information pops up.
Like facial recognition.
So it's more like facial recognition.
Okay.
Wow.
So just like your iPhone, to unlock somebody's iPhone, you hold it up to their face, right? So there's an actress. You've all seen her in movies. She was in
Is it this lady?
nope. Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married? She has a twin.
Oh yeah,
Tasha.
Tasha. Can't remember her last name.
Yes. She has a twin.
Yes.
She laid her phone down. She walks out the room. Now she's in her trailer,
Her movie trailer.
her movie trailer. She walks off. Her twin picks her phone up, holds her phone up, and unlocks her phone.
Oh, Kira, my daughter does it to me all the time. Kira, our faces are so similar in structure that if she
Absolutely.
holds it at the right
Wow.
angle, she can open my phone. I can't open hers, she can open mine.
I wonder if I could do Jack's
It'll tag
or
her
Maddie's.
in photos. It'll automatically tag her
Yeah, 'cause y'all
as
are
me.
really-
Yeah.
We're very similar.
Right.
Yeah.
So my kids, and Gina and Maddie more so, but me and Jack are very similar.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
So it would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And my dad, my mother, I would have been able to do it with my mother, for sure.
So, speaking of the photos, I know if someone is in need of a professional headshot, right? I mean, the best bet, of course, is to go with a professional photographer. Utilize that person. They're going to understand lighting. They're going to understand you as a person, what type of clothing you should wear, what should be the background, where should you be, how to get you to smile and interact. Those are all very important things.
Time of day.
Time of day, all of that. If you are in a crunch and someone says, I need you to do this presentation, I need your headshot, there's AI out there that they'll ask you to take like 50, I forget how many, it just depends on the app. Like one of them, it costs something like $20, and you take some of the pictures, the selfies, and you submit other ones from all different angles, and they will create a variety, and you can say if you want a nature background, or if you want it in it'll change your clothes, it'll do all the things. Now, with a trained eye, you can tell sometimes a little bit. But honestly, if it's a thumbnail on top of a resume or a presentation, you can understand why people are using things like this.
I think I know somebody who did that. I'm not going to call the name out, but I think I do.
And now when you go back, you can also read, like sometimes when you see artificial intelligent AI generated text, I got real excited when I started using it a lot, and especially for social media posts, and it adds all the emoji and things like this, but you can tell it only works for a certain type of voice, if you will. But you can change it. I mean, it was introduced to me by Steve D'Abria with the GBA,
Yeah.
Gas and Business Association, and at the Man and Woman of the Year award, and he won't be mad at me for telling the story, but he was the MC for this annual. How long has that award ceremony been going on? 50 plus years, 60?
Yes.
Okay. So he's a great MC. He has his sketch. And next up, we have, Mayor Brian Huff or T. Crocker or whatnot. And at the end of it, he takes the paper and he puts it at my seat. And he said, I use AI to write this. He took the whole program. He put all the details in. But then he said, write it formally, which is what he presented. And then he said, rewrite this in the style of a pirate. And it completely rewrote it in the style of a pirate. And then he said, rewrite it, and you can say, like, a Valley Girl, and it'll say, OMG. Like, it will take everything, and it'll keep on.
Wow.
It's incredible. So, but it's also, it has great things, great uses, great benefits, but there are also some cautionary
So what was
messages
the
there.
movie? Tron or one of those? Do you want to play a game?
No.
No.
War
War
games?
games.
War
War
games.
games.
War games.
Where the computers took over the world, right?
So I tell people who get worried about this because I do workshops on this with my company For the Love of Technology, and there are some people who are sitting there who get very, very worried, and I understand why. But for everyone who is creating this for a bad use, we have just as many people making sure that we are going to be kept safe as well. So we just have to remember that as well.
And it's a big focus, especially in Europe right now. The U.S. is focusing on it to an extent, but Europe is all over it, trying to manage it, trying to govern it, because it's a big deal. You know,
It's
it
a
can-
great tool. It's
Right.
it's an accessory. It's something that can enhance. It's
Just like
not
Google was.
just like Google. Just do you remember when Wikipedia started? And it was crowdsourced. So you could go in there if you found, the bio of Luther Ross, and you could write whatever you wanted in there because everybody had and then the more and more people that got in there. So it's just like search engines as well, but we just have to be careful. And there's I forget if it's 2021, it's been updated. If you ask it who won the Super Bowl in 2022, it'll give you a disclaimer that it doesn't have information except for I forget what the year is. So the big question is, are they going to then, but it'll tell you, I can't answer that. However, the Super Bowl winner is generated by, and it'll give you a whole summary. Would you like more information on American football? So even if it can answer it, it will still give you information. It's really interesting.
So the work you did, all the homework you did for the NFL tournament.
I didn't use Chat.
No, but you
I
could
could
have.
have.
Right, but you wanted to do the work because you wanted. The more you do involved in it, the more you remember. So you're like writing down, the players' names and their backgrounds and the teams they played for and the years. That helps you, but you could have put in there essentially all of their names, and it would have done that.
And a deeper dive, if you talk my background as a teacher and learning styles, for me personally, I don't know about you guys, I have to write things down. I'm all about technology. I own a company that's focused on technology, marketing, all of that, PR. I still have to write things down and then turn it into a digital thing. So what Brian's referring to is about a month ago, I was attending the NFL alumni of the Carolinas event, their Queen City Golf Classic, and he knows me well and knows that I don't know a lot about football. And so he said, before you go into this, it would be really good if you had some information, do some research. Well, I took him very literally. So I spent hours researching every single NFL alumni, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper because for me, writing it down, I could have chat GPT'd, I could have Googled, I could have whatever, but the process of helped me learn it more. But for other people, maybe they just want to, it just depends on your, and I think that meant that it retained in my brain better.
Right, and that's how I remember things. Like if I type it or write it, if I write it, it's there.
It's there.
Right, but most of my life is spent typing.
It's like a hybrid. It's like, I think it's a combination.
Yeah,
right?
I don't write a whole lot other than notes.
You mean actual right?
Actually, yeah, printing, writing. I don't. I mainly type on a laptop. That's my life.
For me,
Emails,
remembering,
whatever.
the way I remember things is audibly,
You're
repetitively.
Right.
So if I'm riding down the street in a car, and I have a lot of material to learn, I'm listening to it, going and coming.
Right.
So are you more like an listening to an audiobook?
No, like if there's some information I needed to learn,
Okay.
I will go out and record it, read it like this, record it on my phone, and then that's the only thing I'm listening to while I'm driving in the car.
Wow.
So let's say you have to learn a memorization of some
Yes,
ritual,
yes,
and you have to learn that.
right.
Then that's how you learned it, which
Yes.
is great. That's
Yes.
great. So we had psychology 10 or 101 in school, and I think I've told this story before. We walk in the first day, and the professor, you've got 50 people in there, and the professor wants to know what your name is, where you're from, and what school you went to.
Okay.
Okay? That's it. 50 people. The next class, 2 days later, so it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he said, "Hey, Brian from East Gaston High School, how are you doing today?"
Wow.
And he did it with every single student in the class.
Was he just
So
a
he
genius? Or
taught
did he,
us it's cues. So it's cues. So let's just say Luther Ross. There's something about Luther that you remember. Okay? Luther is a Mason. Let's just pick that. Luther loves to sing
Right.
at church. Anything you want to pick about you. And then you go, okay, church, Luther. Mason, Luther. It's a cue. So he would
Okay.
do this, like I'm doing this. It was just how he processed. But he would go, yeah, you're Luther because X. That you're getting those cues. So you associate someone with something else, but it brings you back to that person. So I have a difficult time remembering names in a conversation. But if I meet you and I say, hi, I'm Brian, and you say, I'm Angie. I met Angie today, okay? I'm able to remember her name much easier than you're in a conversation, somebody comes up, introduces somebody, then you go back to the conversation, that's gone. I will not remember that name. But if it's one-on-one and you come up and we introduce each other and we talk for a little while, then I'm going to remember your name. But if I just offhandedly meet someone, that's toughy because I don't have anything to associate that person.
Right, I have to figure out the association. So for the football players, I was associating either like it was an interesting fact. Donald Wolford
Mhm.
was a wide receiver.
No, but you're close.
It was a quiz to see if he was paying attention.
He's a defensive back.
He was a defensive back.
Who did he play for?
Well, he started playing for college. Did he play for West Virginia?
Played for Clemson. But you're
Clemson. Then he
close.
played for the Bears.
The Bears.
Then
Yep.
he played for the Steelers, and then
That's
he
right.
played for the Panthers. And I know that because I'm visual, so I can see in my head right now on the piece of paper. And I really thought that was wide receiver, but it wasn't. But I remember a fun fact about him.
Corin Robinson.
Corin Robinson went to South Point High School. He was a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what school he went to.
NC State.
NC State.
And was a wide receiver for Minnesota.
I'm sorry, Sierra rode with him. She was one of our scorekeepers and rode with him in the golf cart in his team. What'd you say, Sierra?
Played for the Packers and the Vikings.
The Packers and the Vikings.
And one other team, but I can't remember.
Which, side note that has nothing to do with anything else, the average number of teams that those NFL alums played for, least amount, well, there's one outlier with one, but the least amount was 3, largest amount was 7 teams.
I don't think Greg Lloyd played for anybody but the Steelers.
Greg Lloyd and then Garcia,
Frank Garcia
He
with the
played.
Panthers.
correct. Oh, and I'm sorry, and I'll think of it in a second, but he played one preseason game for the Buccaneers. Look at me. It's like
We
I
have
actually know
come
things. Sorry.
leaps and bounds from calling it the football ball.
First of all, if you've
Football
ever
ball.
seen Waterboy, the foosball. The foosball.
I'm telling you, we've come leaps and bounds in the time we've known each other about sports. So
I'm working
speaking
on it.
of sports,
Yes.
Yes.
this weekend
segue.
this weekend is full weekend of college and NFL. It is so exciting. You know, we always change our hours. We usually open at 2. We open at noon now.
And we have a
To
food
make
truck
sure-
on Sunday.
And we have food trucks on Sunday now, starting at noon. And it is great food, dusk to dawn. It is fantastic food.
Check
They
'em
do a
out.
great job. And what an exciting time to be back in football. Of course, my wife has brought out the pillow. We now interrupt this marriage to bring you football season.
And then for her birthday, I gave her a dish towel that also says the same thing. So now you have a pillow and a dish towel.
I have been corrected.
All right.
Greg Lloyd also played for the Panthers. Thank you, Mook.
Thanks, Mook. Did Mook,
Mook
get
is
his?
Mook is out of town right
Did
now.
Mook get his?
Not yet. He knows about it.
Okay.
I talked about it last week, I'm pretty sure. But I figured out why I got the Christian Leitner signed jersey.
Yeah, we don't understand.
It came out, but I figured it out. So, as y'all may remember, I got Final Four tickets through the auction.
Okay.
As part of that, they send you swag gifts.
Oh, nice.
And that has to be part of
Okay.
the gifts that we receive. Now, this is now, as soon as Mook will get the jersey out of my house, it will be at his house because I am tired of looking at Christian Leitner in my house. Yeah, right. In that part. But
I use it as an umbrella.
the 2 most hated players by Carolina people in Duke history are Bobby Hurley and Christian Leitner.
I wrote that down on my NFL sheet on a new section because now I'm going to expand.
I don't know about J.J. Redick was fine. I just think that during that era, it was such an intense era with such competitive, guys going on, and Eric Montross from Carolina, and then you got
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Hansbrough, and you got all this going on, and those were different eras I just mentioned, but just kind of from that time frame was just so brutal. I mean, it was tough.
I have a question for the podcast
Okay,
that's related to football.
okay.
Share, if you're willing, an experience of meeting a football player, college, NFL, whatever, that had an impact on you.
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor.
Whoa, both of you. Same person.
Yep.
Same time?
Yep.
Okay, please share.
Lawrence Taylor came by here he was invited by Brian.
So 2 years ago, he
2
played
years
in
ago.
the NFL alumni tournament.
And he played for the.
Giants.
Okay.
He's like the king of football.
Okay, I knew that. It was just for the listeners.
Yeah.
For the listeners, I
He's
wanted
the
to make
GOAT.
sure.
Yeah.
He
Thanks,
broke.
Derek.
He broke a quarterback's leg.
Joe Theismann. We can show you the video because I'm not watching it again.
In his career.
So Luther, you were saying.
No, it was great
There's so
meeting
much happening
someone
right now.
with that pedigree and that history in football. But such a nice dude. But still, I wouldn't mess with him because he looked jacked.
He is still the same guy.
Still.
And, we all lose a little bit of speed and a little bit of strength. Yeah, you're not messing with him.
No, not at all. So I enjoyed meeting him.
T, same.
Why?
So yeah, why?
So, Brian, being beef wagon that he is, sends me a picture. Look who I'm hanging out with.
Mm-hmm.
This was when he was in
Because
my
he
car.
always, Brian.
I know, right.
Me and Brian got this love-hate relationship, right?
Which means I love her.
I love
But you
Brian
send
too.
each other, like, you're kind of bragging to each other. Like, here's this picture, this is where I am.
Oh yeah.
Right. All in good fun.
So I'm at home. I'm gonna come to the lounge in a little while.
Okay.
Brian sends me this picture.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look who I'm hanging out with. Oh, really? Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring him by. See if he'll come to the lounge. You gonna think about it?
Stop.
Oh no. You gotta bring it. So I'm standing in the lounge. The door opened as far as it can open, so he could walk through the door.
That big.
And Brian walks up and he says, "You know who this is?" And Lawrence Taylor looks at him. He's like, "Well, I don't know." He said, "You need to know her." So I was like,
Okay.
"Mr. Taylor, how you doing?" I'm good. So he goes back in the corner where they're gonna hang out for the rest of the day. And he wants a certain cigar. And
He knew exactly which
oh,
one
he
you
knew
wanted.
which one. He knew which cigar he wanted. I go find it. Not only he wants one, he wants two. So now I have to make sure I have that particular cigar in the lounge at all times.
You just never know.
You just never know when he's going to come in.
Right.
So let's just make a point here, and this is for Mook, just to, because we love each other. Mook and I love each other. Arguably the two, and we're just going to call LT the GOAT of linebackers.
Okay.
Oh, that's LT.
Yes, Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor.
So we're going to name
know who
LT
LT is.
because Dick Buckus. You got
Okay,
arguably a modern era GOAT. Where did he go to college and play football?
Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill. Where did the other GOAT of basketball go?
Chapel Hill.
Michael Jordan, Chapel Hill. So all I'm saying is, Dean Smith is the only man that can keep Michael Jordan below 20 points a game. Right? He's the only man that
Right.
can do that. That was the running joke when we were in school. But to meet LT, and it wasn't that you were just meeting him. He was a person
Yes.
who
Yes.
cared about spending time with you. And, everybody wanted a picture with him.
Yeah.
What'd he say? When we're leaving, I will get
Yep,
up and
that's
we'll
exactly
take a
what he
picture.
said.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's exactly what
And he said, T, thank you. He called her name, right? It wasn't just, hey, you. And he thanked her. And we spent, I drove him here from the golf course,
That's
took a
right.
selfie at the light, while we're in the car. And I sent that to my son. And I said, you need to get to the lounge.
That's right. That's right. I
And
remember
then
that.
Jack got to drive him to the airport.
Right.
And he will never forget. He said, Dad, he got out of the car and bro hugged me
Yeah.
going into the airport and thanked me for driving him to the airport.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And
great
it-
experience.
And this is the thing about, I talk a lot of trash about TSA, and I'm going to forever. I see a lot of players come through, and I tell my coworkers, don't wig out.
Be cool.
He's a human.
Like everybody else.
She's a human. Like, we have singers and actresses come through all the time. Don't wig out. All you do is say, hey, how you doing? And keep moving. If you do that, the next time they come through, they're more prone to talk to you. There's one particular player, NFL player, retired NFL player, that comes through. He will stop and talk to me. Whole conversation. I never call his name because I don't want people to crowd around him and just, wig out and
Yeah, right,
scare
right,
him
right,
off.
Right, right.
So I have this saying, Coach, how you doing? I'm good. This, that, and the third. We hold conversation. He gets his stuff and he leaves.
Does he follow the rules?
Oh yeah, to the T. A lot of my coworkers, they'll look at me and go, "Who's that?" I'll say, "I'll tell you in a minute." So after he's gone, I go, "That's such and such." I knew him. Yep. Keep that to yourself. Just keep it moving.
Like you said, there are people too.
Right.
In the late 90s, I was on St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, and I don't know if you've ever been to St. Thomas, been on a cruise, been down there. There's a shopping district right there in Charlotte, Namale. And my mom knows even less about sports than I do. And she was looking at a case of necklaces at a jeweler. And she was standing next to a very tall, athletic man who happened to be Magic Johnson, and she had no idea that it was Magic Johnson. So I walk around the corner and I see my 5'1" mother standing next to however tall Magic Johnson is, and he's looking at mom.
6'9".
Mom's talking to him. And she's like, "Oh, your wife looked like that one." And she, if you know my mother, she has just as many opinions as I do. She's showing him and everything, and I stand there and I kind of go to the other side of her and I said, "Mom, do you know who that is?" She says, "No, he's a very nice man. He loves his wife very much. He's looking for a nice necklace. I'm just helping him out." And then people started recognizing him and came up to him, and just like your friend LT, they said, "Oh, can we take a picture?" And he said, "I will be happy to take a picture." I tear up when I tell the story. He says, I want to do this for my wife, and then I'll go outside and I'll take just give me a couple minutes." And he did, and he went out. And my mom loves this story because he did buy the necklace that Mom suggested. And a couple weeks later, he was on the Oprah Winfrey Show with his wife, and she was wearing the necklace that. So my mom thinks that she picked out Magic Johnson's whip, but that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is they're just like people are just like everybody
Oh, yeah.
else. And he was so respectful and kind and loving, and just said, "I'll be happy to do that. I need a minute." Like, they're happy to talk to people. Just
Let me do what I got to
let me
do.
do what I
and
need
then
to do.
yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I met a former NBA player in here one night. Nick Van Exel was in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't at first recognize him. It was kind of dim in here. It was a jazz night.
He's back there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sitting back here with
Yeah.
some other Lifetime members.
Who do you play for?
Stop it. He's a Laker. And
And others, but
really, really down to earth, great, quiet guy. But he was, I helped him with one of my projects. And when he cash apped me, I didn't look at it till the next day, and I'm like, Van Exel, what is that name? Oh my God, that was Nick Van Exel.
right.
But I was so impressed with him. He's not impressed by who he is. He's just
No.
a regular cat.
No.
So he gave me a cigar
Okay.
that night.
Uh-huh.
He goes, "Here, I want you to try this." I just
a
met the
nice
guy.
dude.
And the Lifetime members introduced us
Uh-huh.
and said, "Hey, this is Brian, the owner of the bar, that
Yeah.
all that." And he's like, "Hey, great. He said, try this. I like this cigar.
That's great, man.
Great guy.
That's great.
My best friend was also volunteering at the NFL Alumni Golf Classic, and she knows a lot more about football than I do. And so she knew a lot of the people there, and she said every single one of them, except for one, and I won't mention who, but every single one of them, not a single person said, "Hi, my name is Terry Taylor, and I used to play for the NFL." No one said that. They just said, "Hi, I'm Terry."
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm Larry Griffin."
Yeah.
Hi, just hi. It just so happened that they, and she was so impressed with that they, they're there for, and that was a benefit for the Shriners Hospital in Greenville, but she was just impressed that it wasn't about that.
Right.
And I think we find that more and more. That's more the commonality than
Yes.
the exception.
When Greg comes in, he's just Greg.
Mm-hmm.
So when Greg comes in, and Larry does the same thing. They're like, why don't you have our pictures up and us sign pictures for you? I don't feel comfortable.
Oh, Greg Lloyd, you mean?
I don't feel comfortable asking for that. But Greg came in and left a picture signed, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
We got the
And
Sharpie.
he drops in. You never know. I mean, Greg will he's in Atlanta, but he'll just hop in his truck and ride up the road and say, "Hey, man, I'm here. Where you at?"
Because they know it's a safe place, and they know that people respect them, and they know that they can come, and they don't
Well,
have to do that whole
Craig
thing.
Thompson. I mean, you can go through a whole list of guys. Adrian Morrell. Those guys feel comfortable because they know everybody's not going to flock over to them. They're going to leave them alone and let them have their space, right?
Absolutely.
And
That's what we tell the members. It's like, they sitting in here, they come here to relax, just like you.
Same thing.
Same thing.
so it's it's a safe place for everybody. They feel comfortable. We had a former Panther coach out in Arizona now who comes in. He's got his shades on, and I know exactly who it is. So I let him do his thing. I walk back. I introduce myself, and he goes, and I said, "And you are?" He goes, I didn't want to assume. He goes, "You know who I am." And I go, "Yes, I do, Coach. I love what you're doing. Good luck keeping the job. I think you're doing a great job. Is there anything I can get you?" He says, "I'm meeting a few people. I got it." I said, "If you ever need anything, let me know." And that was it.
Yeah. That was my interaction with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the same demeanor
Yep.
All
on the
time.
field, off the field,
All the time.
Yep.
all the time. Same guy.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah. Very, very personable, but very to the point.
Yeah.
Cool. That's who you
And
are.
I don't know what they experience when they go to other cigar lounges,
I
That's
don't
a good
even know.
point.
but that's what you get when you come to Smoke and Barrel.
And the interesting thing is, you never know from one day to the next who's going to be here.
Oh, that's so true.
We were in Key West. We went by Margaritaville to see if Jimmy Buffett was going to do it, because when my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, was down there, they closed down Margaritaville and shut the doors, and all of a sudden, there's Jimmy Buffett playing.
Wow.
So I'm like, "Oh, we got to go,"
Yeah.
because you never know.
You just never know.
But you never know. You walk into Smoke and Barrel, you never know who you're going to see. And it's like that all the time, and that's cool.
It's a different vibe.
Because when they walk in, you go, "I'm Brian.
Right.
Welcome to the
That
Smoke
part.
and Barrel."
it's worse when you don't know them and then you find out. Like,
No, but I have to introduce myself because I
but
don't
you
know them all.
But you know them. Like when I first introduced myself to Donnell, and he was like, "I played football." I was like, "Oh, cool, you played in college. Like that's so awesome." And then I look down, there's like a ring, and I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "I played for the Bears," and the only thing I know from my age is to say "Da Bears" from like
Right,
Saturday Night
sure.
Live, and then he's like, "And I played for the Steelers." I'm like, "Wow!" And he's like, "And the Panthers." Oh, okay. But he's so humble.
Oh, yeah.
You would never.
But he'd do anything in the world for you. He'd take his
And
shirt
with,
off.
with the
It doesn't matter.
Bears, the fun fact was he had the #1 interceptions as a Chicago Bear until some other man named, I think, Charles Tillman took it
Yes.
over. However,
Oklahoma or Nebraska.
he got that record 18 times faster than Charles Tillman did. But what was really fun was when I told him that fun fact that was on my piece of paper, he had no idea.
But he still
Donnell
doesn't.
had no
He still doesn't believe I tackled him when we played Clemson.
Oh,
Still, he will not
I
little
liked
bit.
meeting the guy that you played
How
with.
would I never forget that?
Mulaney?
No, no, stop.
Jo-
Don't. If you keep doing it, I'm not going to get it. Mike Delaney.
Mike Delaney, Captain Chapel Hill, 4-year letterman. I'm
Yeah.
going off my sheet.
You're right.
And something.
Play for the Panthers.
But
Fullback.
it's and something. I'm gonna get it wrong. It's fine. But I just thought it was cool that he played with you.
We did. We were teammates. He was Mike Falkerson at the time. Then he was Mike Falkerson Delaney, and now he's Mike Delaney. His mother's and his dad's last name.
Okay,
So, Mike, you talk about
Stand up guy.
prince of a guy.
Stand up
Oh
guy.
my gosh, just amazing, amazing person. Always drops whatever he's doing. If I say, hey Mike, I need a favor. Hey Mike, I got a question. He drops everything and gets back. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is. He's
I'm
awesome.
sorry, Mike. I butchered your name if you're watching.
It's
There were
a-
a lot. We've talked about.
But
a lot
it's
of
like you
names.
throw out a name like that, I'm like, oh,
well,
stop.
I just-
I know
and
it. Just stop because
That
it's
was
gonna
my
mess me
first
up.
time ever
Yeah.
having
Chicken cock.
any whiskey. That's the second time in my life I've ever had it.
How did you like it?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Bringing this right back to the beginning, it was spicy. I got the caramel. I did not get the graham cracker. A little disappointed.
Yeah, I didn't get the graham cracker out of it, but hey, it's quality. It's a 4-year-old, so you got to remember it's still young. It does, in my opinion, it does taste younger. It's not as mature as some of the Knob Creek 9s. I mean, can't expect that, right? It's not going to have
So you
those
can
flavors.
taste the maturity,
At this one, I can.
but I mean,
This
in
one I
general, you
can.
can taste.
I think if it aged a little longer and maybe I think it would have a smoother finish. But you've got Whistle Pig, you got some others that are in that line that, the younger. I mean, we've had Cleveland Underground, but it's an
Right.
infused, right?
Yeah.
Because its aging process is accelerated through the infusion process, right? So if you're a purist and that is not the way you do bourbon, okay, but the flavor is going to be much more than a 3 or 4 year
More
old bourbon,
intense.
right?
Okay.
It's going to be more intense.
Okay.
And the char in the barrel is going to make a big difference. But you see this? Look at the color. It's not as deep. It's not. It's great for a 4-year-old bourbon. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to set up the expectation that it's just as good as Elijah Craig small batch.
Does
or
it still
something.
come packaged in a metal tin? Because I looked it up at the beginning of the show, and you can see the vintage metal tins.
No.
That was back, I guess, 18.
Back in
it
the
was really
day,
neat
yeah.
Back in the
Up
day.
until, I think, and I could be wrong, but I remember reading that it went out of business during Prohibition, and it was brought back later.
That makes sense.
So before that, it may have been in a tin.
I think they put the bottle in. It looked like it was a.
I mean, Duke
yeah.
Ellington said it was the
Well,
best
but
in a tin.
that's why I
cup.
looked it up when you said that's really neat.
Yeah,
The Duke man.
the man.
Yes.
Another goat.
Another goat.
So we can't share it right now, but
Matt,
we can. I'm
Mary,
sorry.
what is a goat?
The greatest of all time.
Okay, we're getting there, folks.
Like our cigar lounge.
There you go. The goat of cigar lounges.
Absolutely. And we can't quite share the details yet, but we do have some very cool special guests coming up on the podcast.
We can share. We can share one. One is definitely confirmed.
Go for it.
So, Robbie, last name, Delaney. Robbie is coming from.
He's cousins with Mike Delaney.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding.
So, Robbie is coming. He owns Muddy River Distillery. They are building a new facility here in Mount Holly. Robbie will be on the show shortly. We're getting some dates from him. We're going to share probably the Queen Charlotte rum,
Yes.
so we can sip that.
That's it.
And we're going to talk about what's going on with Muddy River. Where are you at? What's going on? Tell us about your plans.
If we can't do it in September, we have to do it in October because it's National Talk Like a Pirate Day, and it's rum.
Arg.
Just saying. Thank you, Derek, for laughing.
There you
Count
go.
on him.
I think it would be cool if you're
We're
here.
all going to wear a patch.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I
I'll bring
need you to
it.
dress like Jack Sparrow.
Oh, I'm speaking of.
No, the Shania Twain outfit.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll take special requests. So, Jack
Y'all
Sparrow.
haven't seen it.
We can make a special appearance. Jack Sparrow,
Uh-huh.
otherwise known as
Johnny Depp.
Johnny
Johnny Depp.
Depp, is also known to sometimes make an appearance on the Pirates of the Caribbean
Uh-huh,
ride at Disneyland.
uh-huh.
Really?
So every time I'm there, and I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks, every time I'm there,
You're looking for him.
I'm looking to see, because it's that animatronic, and I'm looking to see if it's actually him. I don't care if it's an urban legend or not. It's just cool to think that he might be there.
Absolutely.
So yes,
I
so
mean, he just
definitely
won
Muddy River,
he just won a lawsuit, you know.
and
so
then we have
he's
other
gotta be
peop-
getting out and
yeah.
about.
And we kind of talked about doing a circuit of local, because Mount Holly is the goat of Gaston County.
It's a gateway to Charlotte.
Which is the gateway to Gaston.
Remember that Saturday Night Live?
So,
go ahead.
what's the greatest cigar you're having today, T?
The one I'm having right now with my family and friends.
But before we go, we have a special cut and light next Wednesday.
Mhm. Oh, I have information. Would you like it?
T, who are we going to be with, and then share the special
Sure.
information?
So September 6th, starting at 6 o'clock, we will have my brother, my GTG brother, my cigar brother, J-Lo, is bringing his cigar exclusively to Smoke and Barrel.
Yay,
This is big time.
yay.
It's
Cool.
only in one other lounge. It is in Cigar Shop
In Indian Trail.
in Indian Trail.
Yep.
But I spoke to him, and because of the business that Smoke and Barrel did with Cigar Shop, he wanted to bring the Brotherhood #1, here. Things about J-Lo, if you don't know him, have never met him, J-Lo is Omega Psi Phi,
Mhm.
hits the rapper for the Brotherhood #1. He is also our cousin. He's a GTG member. Super nice guy. Just
He's being deployed in
Yeah.
a couple weeks.
He's a 12-year Air National Guard member, so we
Right.
want to thank
Yeah.
him for his service.
Right.
and he will be deployed in October.
So, assuming J-Lo's not watching the broadcast right now, we're going to have a special send-off for him, as we do with our military members that we know and are aware of when they're deployed. Make sure they have plenty of supplies on hand. So,
And
more to
depending
come.
on where their location is, and because of OPSEC, we can't always share it, but make sure they have the little packs that keep things humid. What are they called?
Humidified.
The little humidified.
Yes.
They're
Yeah,
going
little
someplace
packets.
with sand.
Right.
Yes.
Can I share a little bit about the cigar?
Sure.
Nautilus did a great job preparing all this so we could get it out. It's a Sumatra wrapper with a Nicaraguan binder and filler, and the one that we're going to have next week is a 6x52 Toro.
Which is a typical Toro size.
So, you're right, but just to share it with people who may not know.
Because other people have different sized Toros, just saying.
Really exciting.
Very exciting.
It's very
I mean,
exciting.
I like J-Lo, but I
So
think I like the other J-Los.
J-Lo, when we first opened, man, J-Lo, we got to meet each other, get to know each other quite often, and he's been a tremendous supporter of Smoke and Barrel. So he's such a great guy, and looking forward to that. Glad we get to spend some time with him. Thank you, T, for setting that up.
Thank you, T.
Yep. All right, guys, great session. Mary, thanks
So-
for joining us. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely, I'm happy.
I just want to share this. So, it's at work today.
Always a pleasure to live here. It always smells amazing.
And typical Wednesday at TSA, normally I'm downstairs, but I've been training a new hire, and so I have to be with her on the checkpoint. And so, just like any day, passengers that travel a lot, when they come through the body scanner, they know, because it happens so often, what's going to show up.
Of course.
And so they'll tell you. And so this guy came through today. And we scanned him. And he steps out and he says, "My right leg." So, me being the person that I am, I said, "What did you do to it?" He said, "Oh, I got bit by a shark."
Stop it right now.
Like it caught me off guard,
Sure.
cause I've like never met somebody personally that's been bit
survivor?
by a
All
damn
your
shark.
years of TSA, right? No one said I got
8
bit by a
years,
shark.
I've never met anybody that's been bit by a shark. And so, as he walked, like my male coworker, patted him down, and he was getting his stuff, and I said, "Sir, what did you say?" He said, "I got bit by a shark."
But what is that?
And so we was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, right." So he reaches down and pull his, like he had on some sweats, not like nylon sweats. He reached down and pulls it up. And I was like, oh shit. Like the look on my face had to, like, I can't play poker, I'm sorry. Like I was like, and sure enough, like my coworker has been with TSA for 21 years. He said, I've never met anybody to say
Did
they've
he
been.
think that it was going to come up on the scan and it would?
Oh, it did.
Was
So-
it got metal in there from when he had it
Is it
operated
like an
on?
irregularity in the?
It's like when he pulled it up and we looked at it, I'm like, holy shit. Like,
And guess what? AI can't help with that. A human
listen.
had to help with that. A human had to identify
Listen.
that.
and my coworker said, you know, dude, how many stitches did that take? And the guy turns around, he was like, stitches? Bro, you mean how many skin grafts did I have to have?
Wow.
How many, you know, like surgeries I had to have to just, you know, to get it to look like that?
Incredible.
That's
I was
incredible.
Oh,
like, that
And
is.
he walked. You couldn't even tell.
Oh,
that
you
it
couldn't
went-
even tell.
Wow.
Incredible.
Well, here's to Shark Man.
Hey, listen,
Cheers to Shark Man.
Dude.
I don't know his name. Shark Steve.
I was just in awe, man. I was just in
It's
awe.
amazing.
I was just in awe.
It's incredible.
Like,
That
this
goes to
is
show you
crazy.
don't know. You don't
Well,
know
on
any
that
other people.
note, stay out of the water.
And
There are sharks.
don't mind
Hey,
me.
prayers to our people being affected
Yes.
by the hurricane.
Absolutely.
We're thinking about you.
Praying.
We're just getting a little bit of rain. We got nothing. But we're praying for the people who do. Hats off to Phil and Sarah Buffa out in New Bern,
Yes.
who are potentially getting a lot of rain. My sister down in Jacksonville. Hats
She's
off
good?
to you. She's good. A lot of wind. Little power outage, but yeah, overall not bad. Guys, salute. We love you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you